contributing to peace. So we appeal for a renewed commitment to negotiations in good faith by both parties to the conflict. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Slovenia for the statement, and I give the floor to the representative of Panama.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Panama is grateful for the convening of this emergency meeting, and we're also grateful for the report provided by Ms. Rosemary DiCarlo, Under Secretary General for Political and Peace-Building Affairs. Moreover, we welcome His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim Al-Thani to this meeting as Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar. We wish here to convey to him the solidarity of our country with the people and government of Qatar, as his country and the Middle East region withstand a gravely serious ordeal. Moreover, we hail the presence of His Excellency Ayman Safar, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of Jordan. And we welcome to this meeting the distinguished representatives of the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Iraq, Israel, Kuwait and Turkey. They do us a great honour by being with us today. Panama fervently condemns and repudiates the unstoppable tide of violence in the region of the Middle East. The attacks perpetrated against civilians in Jerusalem on Monday, for which Hamas claimed responsibility, are a demonstration of the extremism and terror that this group has sown for decades. Israel's subsequent action in Doha on Tuesday, that was also condemned by Panama, stands as a reprehensible and flagrant violation, one that stands as an attack on the sovereignty, territorial integrity and security of a member state of this very organization. Such acts are breaches of international law and the United Nations Charter. Moreover, they imperil the most fundamental principles of multilateralism, principles that for our country are the very basis of the peaceful coexistence between states. These facts demonstrate that the continued use of force and force alone has not offered, nor will it be able to offer, a solution to this current war. Neither has this exclusive use of force resolved, or will it be able to resolve, the deep root causes that have caused the Israeli-Palestine conflict to rage on for almost 8 decades. On the contrary, the use of force has simply seen the entrenchment of the logic of extremes. It has fueled a cycle of violence which hinders and indeed blocks any path towards a political solution. The result of these acts has been more uncertainty, greater risk to the entire civilian population, including to the hostages that remain in Gaza, and the weakening of the mediation process spearheaded by Qatar, Egypt and the United States. Attacking a state who is acting as a mediator and who has acted as headquarters for negotiations seeking peace, as is the case with Qatar, is a direct strike on the possibility of achieving a ceasefire in Gaza, a ceasefire which is vital to halt the suffering of the Palestinian civilian population and to open a safe environment to allow the immediate, dignified and unconditional release of all hostages who are now not safer but on the contrary facing even greater risk. These irresponsible actions are not simply a threat to the security of the civilian population. They may also have, and indeed did, imperil accredited diplomatic missions in Doha, including the Embassy of Panama, only a short distance away from the attack, some 100 meters. We wish to express our sincere condolences with the families of the Qatari victims and other victims of this attack. There may have been victims from other friendly countries, and that undermines international friendly efforts to guarantee that we have a stable, safe environment crucial for dialogue and negotiation. Mr. President, what occurred in Doha is part of a spiral of violence, which is also reflected in the attacks waged against a humanitarian flotilla in Tunisia and more generally in the devastating situation in Gaza and the West Bank. Panama prioritizes negotiation and dialogue as the only legitimate pathways towards a lasting peace. With that in mind, we invite parties to demonstrate in deed that they are seeking a genuine peace agreement and not seeking to extend the conflict. Moreover, we here underline the fact that no goal, as legitimate as it may be considered to be, can justify the use of means which violate international law or the principle of protecting human life. Panama asks the parties to exercise the utmost restraint. We urge them to step up their efforts to urgently achieve a sustainable ceasefire to facilitate the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages and to guarantee the safe, appropriate and sustained access of humanitarian aid, vital humanitarian aid to Gaza at scale. The experience of the temporary truce, however short and fragile it was, demonstrated that it is possible to halt human suffering, just as it is to allow the effective delivery of humanitarian aid in an unfettered way and to make progress with releasing the hostages. Mr. President, a source of grave concern is the notion of wishing to justify and wage war on the basis of the premise that the ends justify the means, whatever those ends may be. And this our principles must be upheld, whoever is concerned. The use of this ends justify the means logic will simply sow more destruction and suffering. The indiscriminate witch hunt of enemies does not lead to peace. On the contrary, it merely extends war and worsens the suffering of innocent people that are trapped in the midst of the siege. History has taught us that peace is something negotiated and made with our enemies. The time has come to choose restraint and to allow room for diplomacy before new actions further exacerbate the crisis. Panama reiterates that there is no military solution, only a comprehensive, just and lasting political process based on international law and on the relevant resolutions of the United Nations, as well as on the principle of two states and their peoples living in peace and security, will be able to guarantee the stability of the region and the safety and security of all. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Panama for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Sierra Leone.
Thank you, Mr.